All right. Hello and welcome to the Dump and Chase podcast on 88.1 FM, WLS Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois. Reid and Rebecca in the studio. Second episode of the new semester. If you missed last week's episode, we had Flyers forward David Pickell on the show. That episode will be on YouTube whenever Rebecca gets it uploaded eventually. Should be tomorrow. But this week, we are joined by goaltender Colton Edling. Colton, thanks so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
A little bit of a later time slot, but we had to work around your work schedule, which worked out fine. We still got plenty of time to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. So last week with David, we split it up into hockey and off the ice questions. So we'll start off with the hockey stuff.
All right.
And being a goalie, I think the main question, you've probably heard this 1,000 times, why a goalie? What was your thought process behind choosing the position when you started playing?
I actually started out as a defenseman.
Okay.
When I was young, I played defense for 2 or 3 years, till about age 7. I had a family friend in the neighborhood that I was always hanging out at his house. And he had a giant backyard with a nice cement pad that we would play hockey on. And it seemed like we were supposed to take turns in net with each other getting shots. But somehow I got stuck in the net. And it just kind of stuck. Kind of fell in love with it. I swim in pressure. I love pressure.
Sure.
And it's kind of the only spot that you can't be replaced.
Sure. It's all you,
It's all you all the time.
So how old were you when you started playing? And other than, kind of that neighborhood atmosphere, what were the other influences on you starting to play hockey?
My dad. My dad was probably the biggest influence. He played for St. Rita, which is Catholic high school by where I live. He won the Kennedy Cup. He won state. Refereed all pretty much since he was 12. So I've always been immersed in hockey.
Sure.
He'd be working college games. I would go to the college games, go in the referee locker room, get to talk to everybody, just be around the game.
Sure.
And that's what really sparked my love for the game.
How old were you when you started playing?
I started skating when I was 3, playing when I was 5.
Okay, so it started quite early, sure.
Yes.
Which figures with your dad being as involved in the sport as it was. Throughout the years, as kind of your career evolved, what kind of made you want to continue to keep playing? Obviously, I assume like most kids growing up in the U.S., you played a whole handful of sports. Kind of the standard like 3 or 4. What was it with hockey, or just what just kept you going, motivated you to keep going back out on the ice?
I always had great coaches growing up, and that kind of really flourished my love for the game. I know a lot of people who didn't have the best coaches, and they kind of got burned out. They were playing hockey all year. For me, my biggest thing when I was younger, hockey season ended. I'd played baseball, I played basketball. So it kept me still in shape, but it gave me a little break from being on the ice. And when I was 12, I started reffing, just kind of get some more ice time, get some more skating in,
Sure.
Get to see the game from a different perspective. And once I started reffing, I was pretty much all in at that point.
Sure. How many years did you end up being a ref? Do you still do it?
I still do referee.
You still do? Okay.
That's how I ended up hurting my wrist, was
Okay.
a varsity game.
Oh, no.
So I've been reffing for 10 years now.
Wow. What's your best ref story? I feel like you've seen a lot of wacky stuff happen on the ice.
Oh.
Anything that really sticks out throughout those 10 years?
I've dealt with a lot of crazy coaches.
Okay.
A lot of crazy coaches. I would say probably the wackiest thing I had was I had to throw a coach out of a squirt spring league game.
Really? Oh, my gosh.
And squirts, you're like 7, 8, 9.
Oh, wow.
And he lost it over an offsides that was benefiting his team. For whatever reason, he wasn't a fan of it. He wanted the game to keep going, and he just absolutely went bonkers.
Wow. That's crazy. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, even with a call that benefits your team. Interesting. Wow. Throughout your career, as your play style has evolved, any players that you've tried to model certain aspects of your game after, some of the maybe greater goaltenders or maybe even some of the lesser known ones that you kind of took a liking to?
Modeling my game after players, not so much. I've had a goalie coach, Mitch Korn, gone to a couple of his camps. He was goalie coach in Nashville.
Okay.
Then he went with Trotz to the Capitals, and now he's in New York with the Islanders.
Okay.
And just the way he taught and the way he introduced new things and the way he got everyone involved, it brought a lot of tools into my toolbox that I didn't necessarily know how to use or even knew that I could use them.
Okay.
I would say if I had to choose a goalie, I would probably choose Javi Bulin. Before he got traded.
Sure.
He was a solid goaltender. He wasn't down on his knees all the time, which is I'm not a big guy to be on my knees all the time. That would probably be the goalie I would choose that I modeled myself off of the most.
Nice. Is throughout your career, obviously you've been playing for almost your whole life, anything that you've had to give up in order to keep playing hockey? Maybe it's the transition into high school, the transition into college, any other kind of outside hobbies or pursuits in life that you had to give up?
I ended up giving up. I didn't play high school baseball. I found a summer league when I was in high school. Gave up basketball, but basketball wasn't really my thing. It was fun when I was in grammar school, but I've given up a lot of free time.
Sure.
In high school, I was on the ice 7 days a week for 4 years.
Wow.
So doing homework in the car, eating in the car,
sure,
getting all your stuff done, trying to find some time on the weekends when you're around friends to hang out. But yeah, probably the biggest thing is just free time and injuries.
That's kind of what has been echoed by other players we've talked to as well. So your current number is number 1.
Yes.
Any influence, reason, special meaning behind the number?
I chose number 1 for Glenn Hall. He was a Hall of Fame goalie.
Sure.
Played for the Blackhawks, arguably one of the best goalies of all time.
Yeah.
So I always ran with number 1 when I became a goalie.
Okay.
If that was taken, my number was going to be 40 because it's Glenn Hall's number and Javi Bulin's number put together.
Oh, nice.
So
okay.
that's always my backup number.
Have you been 1 your whole time with Lewis? It's always been that? Okay.
I've been 1 since, I want to say I've been 9 years old, and I'm 22 now.
Okay. So it's
like the last 11 years I've been number 1.
Sure. Nice. So we know on the team, guys have some special nicknames for each other. Do you have any special nicknames that the guys call you when, games or practice?
No, not too much.
Okay.
Besides Civ.
Okay.
That's really the only one. They'll be like, you're really a sieve today. I don't know what's going on with you.
Oh, man. Throughout your career with Lewis, what do you think is like the biggest role that you've played on your team, both on and off the ice?
I would say kind of being a stability on the team.
Okay.
It's easy to see being a goalie because you see the entire game the entire time. You
Sure.
know how everyone's supposed to be. It's very easy to pick up when someone's off.
Sure.
So I would say my biggest asset to the team, even when I'm not playing, is just kind of being there to regroup people. They'll get rattled, they'll get hurt. Just kind of like, let's walk it off, let's blow off some steam, whatever you got to do, get it out of your system, let's go, but we got to regroup. We got to have next shift, we got to be good, can't be doing stupid stuff. And that's kind of just how I am.
Yeah.
But kind of the big calming force on the team, just when people get wound up, like, hey, let whatever you got on your chest off and let's get back at it. Let's get back to the team.
I imagine being a goalie, you kind of have that different perspective as well. You can kind of see, when guys are off that they may not realize themselves, or even their line mates may not realize, having that different perspective. So I can see how that would help as well. Do you have any pregame rituals that help you get kind of in the zone for a game when you're starting?
Yeah. Goalies are very particular about certain things. So get to the rink. First thing I do, take off my suit jacket. I take off my tie, undo my top button on my shirt, keep my pants, my boots, my shirt on. I go take my stick. I start chewing one piece of gum there.
Okay.
Start going in sewer. Sewer's fine. I'm in my athletic clothes now. Go up top. Put in a new piece of gum. Warm up about 50 minutes before the game. I kind of dip out. Go to the locker room. Every game, I spray down my equipment, make it wet. It's always too dry for me. I like my stuff a little wet going in. They give me a lot of business in the locker room about that one. But I'll start getting dressed, put in another piece of gum. I'll stick with that piece of gum till like 15 minutes before the game.
Okay.
Go outside the locker room, start stretching, put a new one in, put one in for warm-ups, and I only chew 5 pieces before games.
Really?
No less, no more. It's got to be 5, though.
Very, very methodical with the gum chewing.
And I got my points in time when they go in, and it works out perfectly.
And just kind of having that kind of process just helps you kind of lead up to game time, I assume.
Yep, it's just kind of the ritual.
Sure.
Getting in the mindset, hey, we're loose now.
Yep.
Now you're on your 3rd piece. Hey, you got to start focusing up a little more.
Slowly getting closer and closer to game time.
5th piece, it's like, all right, nothing in the outside world matters. Let's get warm-ups
fully
going.
locked in.
Locked in.
Perfect.
Going back to that, we had David on last week. He said part of his pregame ritual was to bless your pads.
Yes. So I don't know how this started. I'm not sure when this started.
I don't think David knew either now that I think about it.
But this is one of those things where he does it every game.
Okay.
Before every period we go out on the ice. So he'll do
it's before every period.
He'll do it before the first.
Before the game.
He'll do it
didn't tell
before
us
the
that.
second. He'll do it before the third. And he comes in. I put my pads together. I leave a little gap at the top. I don't know how many times he does it, but he goes side to side with his hands, tapping the inside, taps the front, taps the top, and then gives me a little fist bump. And he does that on all the goalie pads that are there. So
Really?
if only 2 goalies are dressing, if there's a third set of pads, the third
Does
set
it
of
anyway?
pads gets the same treatment.
Just in case you need them, you know?
Just in case. And we can't go out on the ice until he has that done.
That's great. That's great. Anything that you do between periods? I know. I think the NHL released a video about guys' kind of period habits. You know, some guys, you know, they go down, they take off their equipment, they take a shower, get dressed up. Some guys prefer to keep it on. Anything that you do in particular?
I don't have really anything set. Sometimes we go to, like, when we went to Oshkosh, that locker room was like 100 degrees.
Oh, no.
So in between periods, I was taking off the top. I was walking outside, cooling
Sure.
off. Just kind of, if I need to cool off, I'll take off the top, go cool off. If not, I'm just kind of chilling inside, talking to Justin. I don't like to really engage in everyone's nonsense in between periods. It's distracting a little bit.
Kind of keep to yourself, stay locked in.
Keep to myself, stay locked in.
Sure.
But definitely loosen up the mental side of the game, kind of relax a little bit, because if you're on 24/7, you're going to run out of energy, you're going to drain yourself out, and by the time the third period comes, you're going to start getting sloppy.
Sure. Let's go back to the pregame rituals. What's your music choice before the game?
I am all dance music.
Okay.
All EDM. I got like 863 songs in a rotation.
That's a playlist and a half right there.
Yeah, it's like 41 hours of music, so I just kind of hit shuffle until I find a song that I like to start on, and then I just kind of let it go from there.
Let it go from there, and that's all part of the ritual.
They all call me crazy for listening to dance music. They're like, I don't know how you listen to this.
Where does that kind of fall in with with our gum timeline that you talked about?
I start the music when I start taping my stick.
Okay.
So
and then it goes all the way.
It goes all the way.
Nice.
All the way up until probably like 5 minutes before we go on the ice, and then headphones come off.
Sure.
Get strapped in. Let's go.
There you go.
Hit this ice.
If you could play another sport, maybe let's say at the collegiate level, what would it be other than hockey?
I would say baseball.
Okay.
When I was younger, I was always a good baseball player. I just never really had time to do travel ball or anything like that.
Sure.
But I love baseball. Some people say it's too slow of a game. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hitting and the outfield and second base, those were always my thing.
Okay.
I was not a catcher in baseball.
Okay.
I was a catcher when I had to be a catcher.
That was going to be my next question.
But outside of hockey, that is the only sport I will play goalie in. If you put me in goalie in a soccer game or a floor hockey game, it is a disaster.
Even floor hockey?
Even floor hockey.
Is it just something about the surface change? Or?
I think it's the surface change and not being able to do the proper mechanics. It just throws me off, and then it's, we're down by 7. What's going on? So I stay out of the net if there's no ice involved.
And then all your teammates are looking at you like, but you do so good on the ice.
Yes,
you know?
That's what everyone says. They're like, you're a hockey goalie. How are you so bad in floor hockey? And I say, I don't know. It just happens.
There's just kind of that disconnect there, and it just does it. What's the most important lesson you've learned from hockey? Maybe something. Let's do one lesson on and off the ice.
One lesson on the ice is definitely got to have a short memory.
Okay.
There's so much that happens in a game.
Sure.
And if you start focusing in on one bad thing that went wrong or one thing you didn't do properly or a goal or anything like that, it's very easy to start spiraling and self-destructing. And that's kind of, you see me a lot of times when I get scored on, I skate to the corner, kind of get 2 drinks of water, do a little rainbow with the water, and that's just kind of my reset. Like, hey, you messed up.
Yep.
Let's reset ourselves. Let's get the mind straight again. Got to move on to the next one.
Kind of that mental reset, getting you back into the game. Sure. Anything lessons off the ice that you've learned?
Lessons off the ice. That hockey's a giant family. Everyone knows everyone. It's kind of funny. The joke is, I might not know you, but I probably know 2 or 3 of your teammates that you've played with at some point. Hockey community is very small, and just kind of be on your best behavior. You never know who's there. You never know who's watching. And that it's a big family that you got to be there for your teammates, whether you like them or not. they're willing to do a lot more for you than you realize.
Yeah. It's definitely a message we've heard echoed from your teammates as well, kind of that brotherhood that everyone talks about.
Absolutely.
Let's see. What do you think is your best skill as a player of like the one part of your game that you think is kind of like the best part?
My best part, I would probably say my communication.
Okay.
That's what my defensemen love. I'm always talking. I'm always letting them know how much time they have. I've gotten in a relationship with my defensemen to where if I say you got one coming, they don't even bother looking.
Sure.
They're looking to
They
get
just
rid of
know.
the puck because they know that my call-outs are pretty accurate. I would say probably the communication aspect of it.
Okay.
Because if you're not a good quarterback behind the play, it's very easy for things to get hectic in the defensive zone.
Sure. A little bit sloppy. I assume especially when you're out of the net playing the puck as well. It's especially important there. You talked about that family atmosphere in the hockey community. What team bonding activities do you guys do? I assume more at the start of the season when you have the new guys joining the team to kind of get to know each other.
So start of the season we do what we call Hell Week. So we move in a week early before everyone else, and that's it. They beat you into the ground. You're going pretty much 8 in the morning till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. You're working out 2-3 times. We do football, soccer. Every once in a while we'll do like a bowling day during that Hell Week. But mostly our team bonding happens during the season once regular practices have started. So that Hell Week is just kind of an icebreaker for everybody.
Sure.
And then when practice start rolling, it's just kind of banging bodies, shooting it around with your buddies in the locker room, kind of just throwing little jabs here and there, throwing them back. And
the locker room banter.
Yeah, just the locker room banter.
Sure.
And really after the first series, that's kind of what you see how your team's going to gel.
Sure.
First one is always the biggest one.
Yeah.
That kind of solidifies like, hey, we can do this.
Yep.
We're a unit. Let's go.
Kind of get your feet under you and
absolutely
all start working for that one cause.
Absolutely.
If you could borrow a skill from a teammate, or probably in your case, Justin, what's one skill of his that you would like to add to your game?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't get asked this too often. I would probably say a little bit more of Justin's speed.
Okay.
I have a good amount of speed myself, but there's just a different level of speed.
Sure.
He does a lot more down work than I do.
Okay.
So he has that really good down speed, quick changes on the edges. I'm better if we're going from here to here, and if we got to go back, we're good. But if we got to go back the other way again or into like a really tight angle, that's kind of the part of the game that I struggle with the most. And he's really good with transitioning from top of his crease, sliding into the post, sliding across.
Sure.
So if I could take that from him, I'd love that.
Yeah. We asked David last week if there was a player on your team that needed to play goal, say in some crazy scenario, you're starting, something happens to you, Justin comes in relief, something happens to him, you got to pull a forward or a defenseman off the bench. Who do you think the team's going to?
Ooh. I would probably say Darcy.
That's what that's what David said too. Wow, look at that.
Because
some consistency.
Yeah, Darcy's just kind of one of those kids that he's like, okay, I guess we're playing goalie today. And he would just do it. He wouldn't think about it. I don't feel like he would be afraid of the shots.
Sure.
I feel like it would take a little time for him to be like, oh, these are coming at my head, and I don't have to duck out of them. But he's just kind of one of those kids that's just like, all right, this is what we're doing. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's run with it.
The kind of adaptability and just thinking on the fly.
Very fluid.
Sure. On kind of the flip side of that, if you needed to play a skater position, what position do you think you'd slot in best in for the lineup? Would you go back to defense?
I would say defense.
Defense?
Defense. Because I'm a goalie, I'm very good at watching people's chests.
Okay.
And that's the biggest part of defense. If you can watch someone's chest, the way they're going to go, it's always led by the shoulders. You can't go left if your shoulders are pointing right.
Sure.
So that's kind of my skill. I'm good with taking them to the boards, keeping them to the outside, active stick. So I'd probably go defense. My shot's definitely not hard enough or accurate enough to be a forward, but I could definitely bang some bodies and keep some rebounds out for Darcy when he's in the net.
You talk about you used to play defense. When did you make that transition full time to being goalie?
I made the Transition. So when I was playing, you could play 3 years of mite hockey.
Okay.
So it was the summer in between my third year of mite hockey into my first year of squirt hockey.
Okay.
So I was about 7 or 8.
Okay.
And I got sick of playing defense. Like it just wasn't as fun. And the big goalie gear is always fascinating, and you get to see all the cool painted masks, and you're like, I don't mind taking shots at me. I'll go there.
Yeah. Let's see. If you could have a player card in the NHL video games, what would your highest rating be? Your highest category, I should say.
My highest category. I would probably say backdoor.
Okay.
So like agility side to side. There's because I got the longer legs, it's a lot easier to rob them.
Sure.
And that kind of seems to be where I come up big. It's just like the lateral movement.
Yeah.
Justin's better on the overall consistent lateral movement. I'm just better on the lateral ones.
Sure. What would you say is the strangest thing that you've seen happen during a game?
I have seen a puck go down a goalie's chest protector, down his back, into his pants, out his pants, into his pads, and then had to dig in his pad to get the puck out.
Really?
Yes.
How is that even possible?
It went off the glass, and after that, I have no clue what happened, and I have never seen anything like that happen
It just kind of made its way through the maze of the equipment?
Yeah, all the way through, and then whenever you see the goalie take off the glove and he's digging around in the pad, you can feel the puck.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't always find it, though.
Sure. You just have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
We asked David the same question last week, and he said that one of the odder things, or I don't know if we should say odd or just kind of the funnier things he's seen during games, he mentioned you eating on the bench. Can you give us a little insight on the food antics on the bench?
So last year, first half of the season wasn't seeing a whole lot of time. I knew I wasn't going to be in the net, so I started bringing packs of Skittles on the bench.
Okay.
And I would just be munching down on some Skittles. People would come off me like, "Can I have some Skittles?" I'm like, "Are you playing? Are you going out in a couple shifts?" No, can't have any Skittles. I never went as far as some goalies of bringing pretzels out there. I've definitely thought about it a couple times. But if I'm not in the net and it's one of those games where I know I'm not going in.
Sure.
Brownie here or there.
Get a little hungry,
Yeah, get a little hungry. You get bored, you get a
helps
little
to
hungry.
pass the time, yeah.
Definitely helps to pass the time.
There you
Always
go.
helps when we have fruit snacks in our locker room. Go grab a bag of fruit
Grab a
snacks
pack of fruit
come
snacks
back.
and relax and watch the game.
Kick back, throw the arms up, and just relax.
You got a great view, too, from where you guys are next to the bench. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And then if it starts going sideways, that's when I'm like, all right, we'll put the fruit snacks away. We'll stretch out. We'll get ready to go. Time to dial it in.
Just in case you need to.
Just in case.
There you go. What's something interesting about you that people may not know? Maybe like a hidden talent or...
I used to be able to play guitar.
Okay.
I cannot anymore.
Okay.
So up until about sophomore year of high school, I could play electric and I could play acoustic.
Wow.
And Thunderstruck was the main song I knew.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Good
that
choice.
was very hard to learn, but I learned it.
Nice. We did talk to David last week, and he used to be a drummer. So maybe you guys could kind of rekindle your skills and come back together, have a little Lewis hockey band. Why?
Maybe. Now we just need someone to sing.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, you got to be able to find some guy on the team
if
that
it's
likes to sing.
Nickelback, then it's Partial all day.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, Partial's a huge Nickelback
Really?
guy.
Okay, got it. We'll have to keep that in mind. Make a note of that
I will.
for when Dylan's on the show again. Let's see. This one may be a little bit more forward focused. This was another NHL video I found. Equipment order, the way you put it on. They talked to a lot of forwards, and it was like shin guard, skates, and pants, the order of that. Do goalies kind of have that order too, that they put those on before they put the pads on?
Yeah. So for us, it's your cup, obviously. Then you're throwing on your pants and your shell. You're throwing on your skates, your pads. And then chest protector jersey.
Sure, kind of working.
If you got a neck guard, throw a neck guard on.
Sure.
Absolutely bottom up, but I know for me, I like to do left skate, right skate.
Okay.
Tie left pad, tie right pad. Do 2 straps of Velcro, or 1 strap of Velcro and 2 leather straps on the left. Do the other 2, then do the boots. I don't know why. But then when I get to the top half of the pads, I do the right leg first.
Interesting.
And then the left leg. So the bottom half of the pads is left leg first. Top half of the pads is right leg first.
Interesting. So you kind of mix it up a little bit.
I do mix it up a little bit. I don't know why. It just started one day.
And it's
just kind of roll with it.
It's just stuck. What's your biggest pet peeve in hockey? There's one thing that just kind of grinds your gears out on the ice.
Not back checking. That's probably the biggest one, being a goalie.
Sure.
It drives me crazy when you got like an odd man break coming the other way and they back check to the blue line, they get right there, and then they just coast and try and lift the stick.
Yeah.
It's like if you would just take the 3 or 4 more strides, you'd do it.
We're fine, yeah.
Or along the same sense, kids who only skate fast when they have the puck.
Oh, sure.
Like, you're going down to the offensive end and you're skating faster than everyone else, but the second you lose that puck, it's like, somebody go get it for me.
The brakes came on, yeah.
Yep, the brakes come on. That's just stopping the gas and not going all the time when you don't have the puck. That drives me insane.
Yeah. So you guys are coming off of a series against DePaul. You split the series.
Yes.
Saturday was senior night.
Yes, it was.
You were one of the 5 seniors.
Yes.
What were the emotions that night? Final home game. What was kind of running through your head?
To me, I just kind of went in the game, and it's just another game.
Sure.
I don't like to psych myself out with putting pressure on it, so I went into it as, it's just another game.
Sure.
Got my wrist taped up. Let's have some fun. Let's do the best we can. Overall, it was positive. Everyone was happy. A little weird possibly playing your last home game.
Yeah.
But overall, everyone just had fun. It was, even though we lost, it was still a good locker room atmosphere.
It was a feisty game, too.
It was a very feisty. That second period was so long.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. There was like a solid hour.
Yeah, when there was 7 minutes left, the Zamboni guy was by the door, and I skated by, and I kind of pointed at my wrist, and he was like 6:47. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We still got another 7 minutes in this period. And it's already almost 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
The game started at like 5:10.
Yeah, that's what because I was I got to do the PA for that game, so I was sitting down between the penalty boxes. I think one of the DePaul guys came to the box and he asked the officials where he's like, "What time is it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's like 6:50." And he's like, "Holy crap, we have a whole nother period to go," you know?
Yeah, that was like the world's longest second period, and then the third period just flew by.
It did, yeah.
That was so fast.
Yep.
Even though there was about the same amount of whistles and more whistles for penalties, it felt like a faster period.
It was such an odd change of pace, really.
It was.
In that game. Has it sunk in yet that, that was kind of the last home game, or is that going to take a little bit for you?
It's definitely going to take a little bit for me. For me, got to stay locked in. Got Marion this weekend. Playoffs coming up after that. I know I want to make it to regionals. That's kind of my goal is never been there.
Okay.
Even if we make it there and we lose first round, I at least want to make it there.
Sure.
So I'm just kind of staying focused on that and one game at a time, and it's just another game.
Speaking of that next series against Marion, a very high-ranked opponent in the division, any special things that you guys have been doing in practice to prep for them and just kind of, obviously needing to, make sure you guys are sharp on all levels, going against a team like that?
I would say probably this week we worked a little bit more on our breakout, just kind of making sure it's sharp and it's clean.
Sure.
Because Marion they are a very skilled team. They have a lot of older kids. 10 of their top kids are between 24 and 26.
Wow.
So you're playing against grown men that are trying to make an NCAA D3 team.
Sure.
So they are very talented, and just kind of making sure we're limiting our mistakes as much as possible. Because that's going to be the difference maker in the game, is who can play a cleaner game and who can stay out of the box.
Sure. Looking on to those playoffs, we've asked we asked David this last week, and we asked Dylan last semester, kind of the whole playoff picture, and we're still kind of looking for a definitive answer of how the tournament, or we know how the tournament for Marion will work, but what's kind of the process after that?
So after that, they take the top 20 teams.
Okay.
And then the top 20 teams, they kind of get weeded down. You go to regionals.
Okay.
I think there's semifinal 1, semifinal 2, and then the regional championship. If you win the regional championship, you end up going to the nationals.
Okay.
And I believe if you win your league's playoffs, you get an auto bid to regionals.
Okay, and then the league playoff, is that the tournament?
That is the Valentine's Day or Valentine's weekend tournament.
So the one back in Marion in a couple weeks. Okay,
correct.
And there's 6 teams in that, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
so it's the top 6 out of the 8 teams in our league.
Okay, got it. So then 1 and 2 get the bye, and then 3, 6, and then 4 or 5 matchups.
Yes.
And then it just kind of trickles its way down from there.
And then 4 or 5 plays the number 1 seed.
Okay.
And then 3, 6 plays the number
Plays the 2
seed. Yes.
Okay, and then the winner of that tournament, or how many teams from that tournament move on?
From there, I believe it's just the winner
Okay.
of the league.
Okay.
And then anything that might adjust your standings with the ACHA, because there's weekly rankings that come out. So they look at the games you played the previous week, what the scores were. There's a certain threshold of goals. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but like what's a quality win, what's a quality loss.
Okay.
What's just a loss and what's just a win. What's the difficulty of the opponent. And then from there, they adjust the rankings.
Okay.
So right now, going into the DePaul weekend, I want to say we were sitting like 23.
Okay.
So we're just outside the top 20 that we're looking to be in.
Sure.
So we're trying to bust through.
Nice.
Maybe get a split with Marion. That would be.
There you go.
That would probably push us well above 20.
Just give you that little boost you need.
Even if we just get one, I think that'll give us that boost that we need to get into top 20. I don't see why we're not sitting 17, 16 if we beat Marion one of the 2 games.
Sure.
Keep the second one close.
Yeah, of course. So being a goalie, obviously there's a lot of kind of like downtime during the game when your team has it in the other end of the ice. How do you kind of stay focused when your team has a long offensive zone like rush? They're kind of set up down there. Maybe it's on like a power play. They're set up down there for a couple minutes, and you're just like, how do you stay locked in?
For me, you turn off the focus, but you're still absorbing the game. So you're watching what's going on, but I don't need to be dialed in like I'm getting a shot.
Sure.
I can maybe turn the focus down to like 60%. So 60%, I'm locked in. 40%, just kind of wandering, seeing where the mind takes me.
Sure.
Kind of relaxing. A lot of times I'll be singing songs in my head.
Okay. Just kind of something to keep you somewhat locked in.
Somewhat locked in, but also at the same time not burning myself out, being 100% locked in.
Sure. Some questions about your teammates, because obviously you face a ton of shots from them in practice. Which guy on the team has the hardest shot, would you say? Esty?
Esty, then Bishop.
Okay.
Then Johnson.
Got it. We have seen Chris rip some ones during games, so.
Oh, it's terrifying in practice. It is absolutely.
He's a big guy too, so I can imagine when he's skating towards you.
He leans into his shot all the way.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's not always the most accurate, but it's always the fastest.
It's always got a lot behind it.
Oh yeah, taking one of those up high is not fun.
Which teammate would you say has the best hands? If there's one guy that's just gonna dangle all over you all day, who's it gonna be?
Either Morrow or Ernstein.
Okay.
I think depending on the day, depending on the drill.
Sure.
They have each their own asset.
Okay.
But I'm a little biased probably for Morrow because I played hockey. I played high school hockey with him.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. I was a senior when he was a freshman.
Got it.
I'd probably say Morrow just because I've seen his hands more.
Sure.
So.
And last, what teammate is kind of like the biggest pest, like the one that you can't like crack in practice? The one that seems to always get the better of you.
Ooh. I would say probably Bishop.
Okay.
For whatever reason, it's just his shot is annoying, and he always seems to trickle it in like low far pad.
Okay.
Or he buzzes it just underneath the bar. I'm like, dude, come on, give me at least a chance here. Let me have a little fun. I don't want to be buzzed anymore by the head. But I would say probably Bishop's the hardest one to stop. He's got hands, he's got speed, he's got a good shot. Yeah. And it's just annoying.
Yeah,
him in practice is just annoying.
We've seen him during some of the games, and he always seems like he always pulls off something crazy to score, to make that pass or something. Yeah, so I can see that. Well, we're going to take a quick break, talked hockey a little bit. After the break, we're going to talk a little bit more off the ice, a little bit about college, your college journey here at Lewis. But we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to 88.1 FM, WLS Start, Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois. We'll be right back with the Dump and Chase podcast. Welcome back to the Dump and Chase podcast on 88.1 FM, WLS Start, Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois. Reid and Rebecca with you in the studio on this Thursday night, joined once again by Flyers goaltender Colton Edling. Before the break, if you missed it, we talked about hockey, and now we're kind of stepping off the ice, going into more college life and just kind of life in general. And starting off, kind of the default question we've asked everyone, what made you decide to come to Lewis? Was it hockey or academics? Or
for me, it was aviation.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to be in the aviation field. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Looking at colleges, Lewis was the best one. It's 45 minutes from my house, 35 without traffic on a good day.
Sure.
So it was far enough to where I got a little space from home.
Sure.
But if I forgot something on the weekends, or I was feeling sick, needed to go home, or I went in for work and I had some free time, I could go see my dog. So it was just kind of the best of both worlds. It had a good aviation program, and then I still had the flexibility. If I wanted to go home, I could, but I didn't have to be home every day.
Sure. So do you live on campus, or are you a commuter?
I do live on campus.
You do? Okay.
It just works out easier with the flight blocks and the hockey schedule. It's just easier living on campus.
Yeah. You what dorm are you in?
I'm in Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick.
So
Okay.
Freshman year I was in Founders.
Oh, nice.
Sophomore year we were on the condemned side of Fitz.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended up
forgot about all that.
We ended up re-signing up for those rooms because it was
Okay.
before they condemned it. Then midsummer, my friend was like, "Yo, we're not in Fitz anymore." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You did something wrong." No, we're in Fitz. And it said we were in Cody, and we called Res Life, and they explained that whole situation.
Sure.
So my junior year, we lived in Cody. Now we're back on the good side of Fitz.
Nice.
Got 5 other close friends, so we locked down 2 sections.
Nice.
So it's just us, which
So
is a lot of fun.
Did you live with teammates or friends outside of hockey?
I live with my neighbors from freshman year.
Okay.
So these are my friends that I've had for the last 4 years, and we've all always been living next to each other. So we always lock down our sections and Fitz, and teammates come through and they hang out, but I'm with them all year from September till March.
Yeah.
It's nice having a little break from them
because you guys
sometimes.
really have a season that almost stretches the whole school year, which is kind of unheard of in college athletics, you know?
We get a nice 30 days off over Christmas.
Sure.
So that entire Christmas break, no hockey.
Yep.
Normally come back like a week early, start
Yeah.
getting practice going, but that's really our
And then it's
biggest
right
break
back at
all
it.
year.
Yeah.
Right back at it, pushing for the end of the season into playoffs.
Sure. So your major is unmanned aircraft?
It is unmanned aircraft.
Okay. What made you choose that? Because obviously it's kind of a newer path in aviation. What was kind of your mindset for choosing that major?
So for me, it was kind of summer going into freshman year. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I'd bounced around like doing ATC, looked into that, and then I'm like, being in the tower, just kind of directing planes, a little boring. Fun, but a little boring at the same time.
Sure.
Then I was thinking about maintenance and, I don't know, fixing stuff 24/7 all day. It's not bad, but not kind of my passion. And then I started just hearing about drones, so I kind of looked up some stuff. And I'm like, stuff's pretty cool. There's a possibility of it having a big implication in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So did a little more research into that. And then I decided to go UAS, and with the current regulations, if you have your 3 pilot's licenses, you can fly drones over 55 pounds, which is the end goal of when I graduate.
Sure.
So I still fly at Lewis. And it's also one of those things where once you have your commercial license, if regulations in the drone industry change and there's no money in it anymore because everyone and their uncle can do it,
Sure.
I can always go and fly on the airline side.
Okay, so you're getting your pilot licenses along with...
I am, but I'm not
drone.
a flight major. So I'm a UAS major just with a flight block.
Got it. Okay, so you kind of get that little mix of each.
Best of both worlds.
Got it. Okay. One thing that with the drones, obviously being close to an airport, random people can't fly drones around. Where do you guys do like your kind of like your classes, like if you're actually like flying drones around? Do you have like special like rooms or buildings for that, or?
So for us, we can use the field house whenever we want.
Okay.
As long as nobody's on it, they let us fly in there. And then because we are an educational university, the regulations let you fly it around the airport as long as you stay below 400 feet and you let the airport know.
Okay.
So if there's a fly day, we go out to the practice rugby field. Practice soccer field with the 2 giant hills.
Oh, sure.
And then we just fly in there.
Okay, got it. Gives you plenty of space.
Plenty of space, and you're not in any direct flight pattern.
Sure.
For the runaways that we have.
Okay.
So that's where we end up flying our drones on days we're going outside.
Nice. So with this degree, obviously you're graduating. And
yes.
Only a couple months now. What do you hope the future holds for you?
I kind of want to see the world.
Okay.
I want to use drones to see the world. End goal is to end in some sort of comfy research and development job, just building something really cool.
That would be cool.
Cutting edge.
Sure.
Something that doesn't have human limits that could possibly change either like the military or civilian life or something
Sure.
like that. So that's kind of the end goal. I want to see the world, live a lot of life, retire by 48 on a nice big ranch.
There you go.
Have some horses, some classic cars, and call it a day.
Have some room to yourself.
Exactly.
There you go. Do you guys have like I don't know. I just thought of this. Like the are they like called like the FOV drones where you have like the mask on and you're like seeing it from the drone's point of view?
So I believe we have those for the drone racing team.
Oh, we have a drone racing team?
At least they were starting one last year.
Oh, wow, look at that.
I briefly heard about it.
The more you know.
I'm not sure if it's still in the works. I know it was getting started up, a drone racing team. So I think if we have a set, it's for that. But in your classes, it's more either hand flying
Sure.
with visual line of sight or working on the ground control systems, like the programs that you use to autopilot the aircraft.
Got it. So throughout your time at Lewis, obviously all 4 years, what professor has been the most influential on you?
I would say probably Professor Canada in the aviation department.
Okay.
He's a former Navy pilot. Ended up doing private military contractor for Boeing. Knows a lot of people. He's a lawyer still in California, still practices law. So every once in a while he'd be like, hey, next 3 classes, not going to be here. Got to go. Got to do that. Here's your work. He's just a cool guy to talk to. He's lived a lot of life.
Sure.
And he's one of those people where if you're nice, you're respectful, you show up to his class, you put in the work, he's willing to help you out when you need the help.
That's great. Great to have kind of that closer relationship with the professor. Looking back to your freshman year, what kind of goals did you set for yourself coming into college? And let's kind of say hockey and academically, and have you kind of lived up to those goals that you set?
I would say for the most part, hockey, I wanted to be the starting goalie freshman year, which I was. Wanted to take my team as far as I could in playoffs, came in second. So I say the hockey side, I adjusted to it. That was kind of what I wanted to do was I want to get established in this. I want to do the best I can. I want to give my team the best opportunity I can. And then college was just not really screwing up. Kind of figuring everything out, being on your own for really the first time in your life, and making sure you're doing your laundry, eating, getting some sleep, and just not flunking out. Yeah,
I got to say, like, moving to college, I feel like laundry is something that a lot of people underestimate.
Yeah.
You know, especially like, or just kind of like just doing stuff and you're like, oh, wow, I'm low on clothes. You know, I have to do laundry now, you know, and just kind of getting that whole routine figured out.
And then when you got a hamper of laundry, you're like, it'll be 1 load.
Exactly.
You go down there and you're like, it's 2 loads and there's only 1 washer. Now I'm going to be up for an extra 2 hours doing the laundry.
Yeah, and then you're waiting, you're like, oh, gosh. And then if the person doesn't get their stuff out, exactly. What would you say is the strangest talent you have? If there's like one like party trick.
Ooh, one party trick. I'd say I'm really good on reading people.
Okay.
So I'm one of those people where I can look at a couple photos of someone and I can give you a pretty accurate description of like something that's gone on in their life.
Oh, wow.
That's affected them in a major way.
Wow.
Some people it freaks out. Other people are like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. It's just in the eyes. You can either do it or you can't. But I say that's kind of my party trick.
Interesting. What would you say 3 things on your bucket list that you want to do in your lifetime?
Go to Tomorrowland Music Festival in Belgium.
Okay.
Largest EDM festival in the world.
Okay.
I want to skydive.
Okay.
And if I could go to space, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, that would be kind of like the civilian space travel that they're thinking of in the future.
Well, space is crazy.
That would be cool. It is. There's just it's so hard to.
It's very mind melting.
Kind of wrap your head around. Exactly. Yeah. Because they're like, it just keeps going, and you're like, well, what does that even mean? You know, like we have no way to kind of grasp what that means. Yeah, that'd be cool. Go to space. Maybe play hockey in space.
That would be very cool.
There you go. Hockey on the moon.
That would be fun.
Or get the outdoor rinks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That'll be the NHL in like 50 years. They'll be playing like the Winter Classic on the moon or something. There you go. If you could invite anyone, alive or dead, to dinner, who would it be, and what would you serve for the meal?
Anyone alive or dead?
Your dream dinner guest.
Ooh. There's a lot of interesting people. I would say Stephen Hawking.
Okay.
Just because, like, he was so far ahead of his time.
Sure.
Even in a limited capacity, there's things that he said 20, 30 years ago that we're still finding are true.
Sure.
And just kind of like, how does your brain work that way?
Yeah.
How do you theorize about all this stuff that is very hard to prove?
Sure.
And you're proving it right when people are running the tests decades later.
Yeah.
Probably serve them spaghetti and meatballs with garlic bread.
Okay.
That's kind of like my family's thing.
Okay.
Holidays, it's always spaghetti and meatballs.
Nice.
Occasionally we'll have turkey, but there's always got to be red sauce. So kind of make some homemade spaghetti and meatballs. That's probably what I would serve them.
Can't go wrong with it.
Can't go wrong with it. And it's fun, it's inviting, but at the same time it's delicious.
Exactly. If you could only keep one app on your phone, what would it be? And why, of course?
Snapchat.
Okay.
Snapchat, you get the best of both worlds. You can call people and
Okay.
FaceTime them, not with the best quality.
Sure.
But you still could. You can text them.
Still usable.
You can text them.
Sure.
You can turn on your geolocation so you can find your friend if you're lost.
Yep.
And you can just send funny pictures with stickers and funny fonts.
The filters and everything.
Get a little bit of everything.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's still a good communication tool.
Kind of your one-stop shop for keeping in touch with everyone.
Exactly, and I don't have to worry about my phone blowing up with people liking photos like on Instagram and dealing with the nonsense that's on Facebook when people go into Facebook fights. You open up your feed and you're like, what am I reading?
Exactly.
I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. You either keep scrolling or you close it and you're like, on to the next one.
Yep.
Top 3 burger toppings.
Bacon.
Okay.
Barbecue, and onion.
Oh, that's a solid 3.
Yes.
I can get on board with that.
Those are my top 3.
That sounds like a good burger.
Not
David,
a big lettuce or tomato guy.
David last week went a little bit more traditional. He did ketchup, mustard, seasoning, and then pickles to go along with his nickname. So that was his. Another one that I want to get your thoughts on. We asked David last week if the team had an arm wrestling tournament, who would come out on top?
An arm wrestling tournament. I would probably go with either Partial or Ligas.
Okay.
Ligas just has that farm boy strength. I don't know what he does, but he's got the farm boy strength.
Okay.
I'd be worried about him.
Got it. Kind of like the dark horse in the tournament?
Yeah. He doesn't have the biggest arms, but that kid is solid as a rock when he wants to be.
Sure. David, he put
Partial
Chris
and SD in the finals.
Esty at the top, beating Partial.
Jack.
Oh yeah, beating Jack.
See, I'm not putting Esty in. He's got bad shoulders. He's got a lot of injuries.
Now he has a really bad shoulder though, because now it's separated. The poor kid's kid's in a sling.
I don't know if you get a stalemate and you start torquing that arm, trying to get him down. I'm not putting him in the final because of the injuries.
You talked about Ligas, one of a few freshmen on the team. What kind of impact have those guys had on the team? Kind of switching gears back to hockey momentarily.
It's been absolutely huge. I feel like we've done the best this year out of all the 4 years I've been here in incorporating the freshmen, making sure they're feeling like they're a part of the team.
Sure.
And they just kind of bought in. They saw that we have a lot of potential, and they might not always have the most amount of ice time.
Sure.
But they know their role, and every shift they go out there, they're trying to do their role to the best of their ability.
Sure.
Ligas in front of the net on the power play, he does it to me in practice. I want to take my blocker and just hit the kid. He does not move. But he embraces that in the games, and you see it. He'll stand there when Asty's taking a slap shot. I'm like, dude, you are crazy. You have less gear than me, and you're willing to stand in front of that goalie.
Yeah.
And just take one if you have to.
Yeah.
So we can try and score.
It's doing what you got to do.
Exactly. And a lot of the freshmen, it's just they bought into the team, and we'd all do anything we could for each other and run through a brick wall if we have to.
That's great. You talked about messing around with guys in practices.
Yes.
What kind of goalie antics do you pull on guys when they're screening you and they're just getting pesky and you just want them out of your way?
I give them a little tap on the back of the legs, kind of let them know I'm there. And then if you keep backing into me, then I'm either going to put my stick behind your skate and give a little push so you kind of lose your balance a little bit. Or if you start hacking and whacking me, I'm going to start hacking and whacking you back right in the back, and I'm going to win that one.
Have you just like completely like pushed a guy over in like a game that's just really getting on your nerves? I feel like we've seen a ton of NHL videos of goalies just absolutely dumping forwards in front of the goal.
Absolutely. There's been a couple of games where kids have been hitting me. I'm like, if you hit me one more time, I swear to God, I'm going to hurt you. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, really? I'm like, dude, I'm in the crease the entire game. Come back next shift and do it. I dare you. And they'll come and whack me.
Yeah.
And then you give them 1 or 2 shots on the side of the back in the lower portion.
Sure.
And they either move or they're going to keep taking it, but eventually they're going to leave.
It works.
It does work.
And it does work. It's kind of good being a goalie too. I feel like you kind of have a little bit more lenience doing stuff like that, you know, like forwards really can't be hacking away at each other in front of the net, whereas, you know, as a goalie, you know, you can try to get away with a little bit more, I feel.
I get away with a little more than most being a referee in Illinois. I know a lot of the guys working, so they're like, hey, I understand what he's doing to you, but if you're going to hit him with your glove, not the blocker.
Sure.
I'm like, all right, fair enough. I'll hit him with the glove.
Cut him a little bit of a slack.
A little bit of a slack. He's like, yeah, if you hit him with the blocker again, I'm going to have to call you. I'm like, all right, fine. I won't hit him with the blocker anymore.
Shifting back to some of the more lighthearted questions. If you were on a stranded island and help is coming in 7 days, and you could bring 2 teammates along with you to help you survive, who would you bring?
Bring Justin.
Okay.
He's going to keep my sanity and just keep the situation light. I think I'm going to bring Darcy.
Okay.
I feel like if we find anyone on the island, Darcy could make friends with him. Darcy's a very friendly person, and I feel like if he was put in the wilderness, he would be able to survive.
I can completely see that with Jack. Yeah, he seems to be one of the bigger personalities on the team.
Oh, yeah. He's hilarious. he always has some sort of one-liner.
Sure.
Or he'll just play off of what you said, and you're like, man, I sound stupid now. He's good with rolling with it,
sure.
And I feel like he might be looking like a clean-shaven guy, but I feel like he could be a wild man deep down if you just let him in the forest for a little bit. So my money's on Jack. I feel like he's going to come back with some food and,
yeah,
you know, have it all good.
Who would you say on the ice, kind of talking about personality-wise, is kind of like one of the more hyped-up guys on the ice, one of the more louder guys on the ice?
Partial for sure.
Okay, sure. We've definitely seen and heard that, yeah.
Yes, Partial and SD. Those are probably the 2 loudest guys.
Okay.
They're very passionate.
Yeah.
You always know what they're feeling. You always know where you stand with them.
Sure.
Which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if they're getting fed up with something the team's doing, you're going to know about it.
Sure.
Fix what you're doing wrong.
Yep.
Let's get back to what we're doing.
Yep.
I would say those are probably the 2 loudest guys.
Are there any guys on the team that are kind of more reserved off the ice, but when they step onto the ice, they get a little bit more kind of amped up, a little bit more talkative?
Probably Ernsting.
Okay.
And Made.
Okay, sure.
Made will talk to people in the locker room, but he's not normally one of those loud voices always going.
Sure.
He has like small conversations here and there, and then like Ernstine, if you get him mad about something, that means you worked really hard to get him mad about something. But he kind of takes the role of the captain and does what he needs to do and gets vocal and steers everyone in the direction they need to go.
Sure.
So I'd say those are probably the 2 more reserved guys that kind of get more vocal as the game goes on.
Sure, sure. If you could spend the day in the shoes of any teammate, who would it be?
Ooh. I would say Partial.
Okay.
I feel like Partial lives a fun life sometimes. And he's very interesting. He's always got funny things to say.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to just kind of walk around in his shoes one day, see how he thinks.
See what's going through his head.
Yeah, he's an interesting dude.
We've worked with him a little bit more through the recruiting video we're doing. We what was that, Tuesday? That we went to one of his classes and just talked to him beforehand and talked to him. We had him on the show last semester and just getting to know him more and more. He's always one of the more he's always just so energetic and just so enthusiastic about like literally everything, you know? And like there's just like some points where like we were before the class that we were sitting at, we were talking to him, and like you can just tell that his mind is just like
it's racing,
going like 100 miles an hour, you know? Because like we're talking to him, and then like he's looking over at like the coffee machine, and then like here comes the teacher, and then class, and it's like, oh man, I can totally see why he would wanna.
And it's one of those things where he can hype up anything.
Yeah.
He'll just be nothing, and then he'll come in and like he's going, and you're like, all right, let's go, and then it could be over something stupid.
Yeah.
It'd be like fill the water bottles, and he's like, he's pumped up. Yes. We're all pumped up now.
Yeah. I can completely see that. It's he's a big personality, but I feel like it's definitely. I feel like every team kind of needs that, when things are going, maybe things are a little down in the game, to get that team hyped up again.
And it's sometimes people use like big personality in like a negative way, and it's like he has a big personality, but it's positive.
Exactly.
He's always trying to bring something to the team.
Sure. This season, what would you say has been the biggest surprise for the team? Either maybe a player or a game that you guys played. What was like the biggest thing that really was surprising you guys?
I would say the biggest surprise for us is how well the freshmen have stepped in to playing college hockey. A lot of our freshmen are straight out of high school.
Sure.
A lot of the older kids play junior hockey. So seeing the gel between the freshmen that are coming straight out of high school, transitioning to the speed, transitioning to getting hit, scoring goals, getting assists, and kind of buying into everything.
Sure.
I would say the freshmen have been the biggest surprise of the season.
Okay. Did you play junior hockey between high school and college or not?
I did not.
You did not? Okay.
One of my coaches said if you want to go play, you can. And I was like, I'm playing Tier 3 juniors. I'm going to burn 2-3 years of my life. So for me, it was if I'm not playing top juniors, there's really no point for me to go and do it.
Sure. What was kind of your transition from high school to college hockey?
Hell Week. That was kind of the big eye opener.
The big wake up call?
Yeah, that was a big wake up call. That was the first time seeing SD shot as a freshman, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That thing is moving.
Yes.
But after the first 2-3 weeks, just getting adjusted to the speed of everything, it was just kind of one of those things where you're going from high school to college. It was nice being on the D3 team.
That's
it was
sure.
less of a drastic jump.
Okay.
I feel like I could have survived on the D2 team my freshman year, but I feel like it just made the transition a lot easier.
Okay.
Because it's just another step up.
Sure.
And then from D3 to D2 is just another step up in speed.
Sure. When did we've obviously been following the team close this season, and you guys just have the D2 roster. Mm-hmm. When did you make the transition to just D2 as a program?
So I graduated 2016. So we had the 2016-2017 season. We had two teams.
Okay.
So it would have been the 2017-2018 season. We folded the D3 team.
Okay.
It's one of those things where if you have a D3 team, it's very hard to recruit for.
Sure.
Especially if you have a D2 program. You get some kids who are like, I'm coming to play D2 hockey, and then they show up at tryouts, and you got 6 kids that are better than them that belong on the D2 team, and you're like, you're on the D3 team, and they're like, peace out.
Sure.
So just kind of retaining numbers was our biggest problem with the D3 team.
Okay.
So my sophomore year, they just decided to combine the teams.
Okay. You talked about the recruiting process. What was that kind of like for you? Were you kind of recruited by Lewis, or was Lewis something that you kind of sought after for the aviation, and then you got in contact with the coaches? Was it something more like that, or was it kind of like Lewis came with the hockey and then, the aviation kind of lined up as well?
It was a little bit of both. So my senior year of high school, I had applied to the school. I had put down that I was interested in hockey.
Okay.
So then Danny Randall, who's at DePaul now, had come out to a couple of my games. We had talked a little bit, and he's just like, hey, let me know what's going on and all that stuff. Then I got dialed in Lewis. I'm like, I'm for sure going here. Then reached out to the coaches like, hey, this is where I'm going. I'm going to be here. Just want to let you know. So I wasn't a player that they really had to recruit hard. It was just kind of like, this is school I'm going to, and bonus, they have a hockey team and need some goalies.
Just kind of fell into place.
Fell into place.
Sure. This is the last season of Coach Pico coaching.
Yes.
How influential has he been throughout your career with the 4 years with him?
He's been a big part. Me and him have had our ups and downs. Don't always see eye to eye. Sometimes we're butting heads a little bit, but we always seem to find a way to move past the nonsense that's going on between us, get to an understanding, and just move on from that.
Sure.
He's taught me a lot of things about goalie, about life, taught me a lot of new skills. It's going to be weird not seeing him as the head coach anymore and seeing him more in a laid-back role, but it's what he needs in his life, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
And, of course, you kind of, your career, ending with his coaching career, kind of that.
Yep.
At the same time.
A little bittersweet.
Sure.
A little bittersweet for sure.
Sure. I'm trying to think. going into the next series, or where am I going with this one? Going into the next series, what am I trying to say? Oh, like final season series.
Yes.
Kind of is the have you guys been doing playoff prep, or are you just taking it one series at a time? Has there been a little playoff prep sprinkled in there, or?
No, we've just been taking one series at a time.
Gotta look
Marion. Got to look
Sure.
at the opponent ahead of you, especially coming off DePaul being a little banged up. It's gonna be a battle.
Sure.
So we're in playoffs, and that's what we care about. We're
Exactly.
not looking at who our opponent's gonna be, who we're playing after that. Got to take it one game at a time.
Sure.
Once you start looking 3-4 games in advance,
Yeah.
then you forget the next 2 games you got,
Yep.
and then next thing you know, you lose them. You don't perform properly. Now the team's down on themselves, negative energy. Now you got to regroup that.
Sure.
So it just kind of takes away. So we just take it a series at a time.
Looking at the playoff picture, where if kind of the record kind of holds, where will you guys kind of fall in the seeding as of now, I should say?
I believe we'll finish as the 5th seed. So we
Okay.
would see Marquette first round, and then I want to say Aurora's in first place right now. So we would see Aurora second round if we made it that far.
Okay, got it. And Marquette, you guys played earlier in.
That was a split.
That was a split. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, I was trying to think back. Okay.
Yeah, that was a split.
Got it. Okay, so.
And they're a team that they just don't go away.
Yeah.
They could be down by 4 and they're playing like it's a 0-0 game. They
Yeah.
could be winning by 4 and they're still playing like it's a 0-0 game.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the most talented team, but they're one of the hardest working teams in this league.
Sure.
And they are pests to everybody.
What would you say has been your favorite memory from your college career?
I would say probably this year, making playoffs.
Sure.
I mean, it's something I haven't been able to do the last 2 seasons that I've been on D2.
Okay.
It's something I've wanted to do. I haven't been to playoffs since freshman year. Probably the most memorable thing is going to be making playoffs this year. If I had to choose one besides that, because that's kind of the generic one for everybody, I would probably say sophomore year, halfway through the season when I took over the net and became the starter on D2.
Sure.
That was huge, and that was a ton of fun, and it was one of those things where it's like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So that felt really good.
Kind of that big, kind of like finally like you made it kind of moment almost in your career. I had another question now. I can't think of it. Oh, one last question.
Yep.
Piece of advice that you would give to guys looking to play college hockey. If there's one thing that, I guess rephrasing this, one thing that you wish you would have known coming into college playing hockey.
That it goes by so fast. I mean, 4 years has gone in a blink of an eye. And people always say that, and you don't really understand it until you get there, but it's crazy. These last 4 years have gone by so fast. Enjoy every game you got.
Sure.
And stay out of the nonsense. Like, there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be teammates you don't get along with.
Sure.
Might not get along with coaches, but play the game because you love the game and because you want to play.
Sure.
Not because your parents want you to play. Just be true to yourself.
All for the love of the game.
All for the love of the game.
Great words. Well, that will do it for episode 2 of Spring Semester. Colton, thanks so much for coming on tonight and for kind of staying up late with us, getting to know a little bit more about you on and off the ice. We're looking forward to the series this weekend. You guys travel to Marion for a Saturday-Sunday series, and we'll be tagging along, getting some more stuff for the recruiting video.
Oh, this will be exciting.
Yeah, it should be, and then we'll be off to playoffs in a couple weeks. But
absolutely.
Once again, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. It's been a great time.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Of course, it's been great to get to know you guys more throughout the season, and it's kind of turned from just you guys being athletes, like, oh, these guys are fellow students that are just like us. It's kind of added the more human aspect to, which has been great, and we're looking forward to getting the rest of your teammates on for the rest of the semester. So
this was a blast.
Yeah,
I had a ton of fun.
Spread the word.
I will.
Spread the word, because we're looking to fill up our slots for the rest of the semester.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So this has been the Dump and Chase podcast on 88.1 FM, WLS Start from Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next Thursday. Have a great night.